Good evening. My name is David, and this evening I am running a game of Monsterhearts 2, a game by Avery Alder, but about playing teenage monsters. It's a sort of supernatural romance / horror game. It's powered by the apocalypse. There's a good chance if you've heard of any Power by Apocalypse role playing games, you've heard of this one. This is this is this game is going to be set in the late '60s in an English boarding school, so a slightly different take on the usual setting for Monsterhearts, but similar basic premise. Apologies to myself. I think I'm coming down with a cold, and my train of thought is all over the place at the moment. So this game is being run as part of the Gauntlet, which is an online role playing game community. We focusing on various indie games, from sort of story games through to OSR stuff. We've got a website at gauntlet-rpg.com, which you can check out. There'll be a link to that below, as well as a link about with more information about the game we're running this evening. So I think that with all that said and done, I will ask each of my players to introduce themselves and give a brief overview of their character, and then we will get this game started. This is the first session of this game that we are running properly. We've had sort of session 0 last time. So as I said, my name's David. I use he/him pronouns, and I'll work through in order of the character keepers. So, Ferret, if I can ask you to introduce yourself and a little bit about your character.
Hello, I am Ferret. I also go by Sawyer. I use any pronouns as long as they're said with respect. I am playing Karuna Singh, the mortal who is also a literal Prince Charming, because I have not grown up on Disney or anything at all. And he is going to see if his odd love life in this school will work out, or if he's, like many mortals in urban fantasy, going to be a smear on the pavement after things are done.
I'm sure we're all rooting for you, if also very aware of the futility of it all. Brilliant, thank you. So, Stephen, if I can ask you to introduce yourself next, please.
Hey, I'm Stephen, he/him. I am playing Alcott. Sorry, I'm a bit sick, so I'm playing Alcott the Infernal. He/him as well, and he is the son of the school's headmaster, and who's probably, if not the devil, someone equally scary. He seems to enjoy toying with the student. My father, at least, seems to enjoy toying with the students at the school, at least, and I often have been enlisted into that in the past.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And Pearl, if you would like to introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, I'm Pearl. I use she/her pronouns. I'm usually in costume, but my camera has broken, which makes me feel a bit hollow inside. And luckily that's appropriate, because I am playing the hollow character. My name is Klaus the Clusterfuck Kingsley. That is not a nickname I gave myself, but whatever. I don't really care, because I don't really care about most things, since I was beaten up very badly in a hazing incident, lost consciousness, came back, and had amnesia. So I don't really know who I am. Yeah, definitely this character is completely from my imagination, not based on anyone at all. But because Klaus doesn't know really who he is in a literal sense, He's not really attached to anything, including his own personality traits, any rules at the school, the idea of bodily integrity. He just doesn't care that much. He sort of does what he wants, and really only stops to the point that he won't get beaten up so badly that he gets amnesia again, because that would be inconvenient. But a little bit, like, lets his uniform go a bit off of regulation, a little bit more open about liking to play with the other boys, that sort of thing. Very irreverent, and often screws things up. But, he means well, probably.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And finally, Puckett, if you'd like to introduce yourself and our ghoul.
Hi, I'm Puckett, he, him pronouns. I think birch beer is miraculous, although if you had told me that as a child, I would wonder why the hell I drink something that tastes like cough syrup. I am playing Alistair Burnley the Third. Very important there, the third. Not junior, not the first, the third. And Alistair had I guess he had a spot of bad luck one evening when he was hazed and chained below the waterline on a rowing shell, but it feels more like murder to him because the people who were hazing him left him there for an hour and he drowned. How did he come back? Who knows? But he came back with a hunger. And it needs to be satisfied. Also, he thinks Karuna is a snack. Maybe figurative, maybe literal. Who knows?
Why not both? So, excellent. Thank you, everyone. So, yeah, I will just give a very brief overview of the setting for the game this evening. This game is set at St. Osana's School for Boys, not a particularly not a boarding school of particularly good repute, but it is still at least a cut above sending your darling offspring off to the local comp. So swings and roundabouts. The school has sat on this piece of the desolate North Yorkshire moorland for probably about 500 years at this point. Some of the buildings are date back to that time when the school was very first founded. Some are somewhat newer, but by no means modern. The school is presided over by Dr. Lovelace, an imposing figure, skeletal looking. Think as my photo reference here, Peter Cushing looking, and very much in that full Hammer horror thing. The school is, as I say, it's a boys' school, and it's divided into 4 houses. We will get onto that in a moment, because one of the first questions I'll have for you, which I meant to ask earlier but completely forgot, is which house you're all a member of. But we'll get onto that in a moment. So as I say, the school itself is just outside the small market town of Hades, which is it's a small town just on the edge of the moors. It had somewhat of a resurgence during the textile manufacturing days of Victoria, but it has somewhat deteriorated since then. There are a couple of pubs in town and a few other shops and bits and pieces, but it's not a big place. Where we will view our house for the first time is in their common study room in the house, where they will be expected to be getting on with their homework and so on and so forth. But yes, my first question is, there are 4 houses at St. Osana's, which I have listed somewhere. The houses are Fisher, Marvell, Postgate, and Roller. Marvell, you will not be members of Marvell because I used that in a previous game, and I want to detail each one of them as we're doing this. Marvell has a reputation for having underdogs and suckers in it. In general, that's their sort of reputation. But I want to ask you, which of the houses do we find you in, and what's kind of its reputation around the school? Does anyone have a preference out of the 3 of those? There's nothing. There's I should point out, there's nothing detailed about any of them yet. Just whichever name you prefer. Out of Fisher, Postgate, and Roller.
I like Postgate. I want to be after gates.
I kind of like Postgated too. That was my thought.
That works for me.
Awesome. And what's sort of the reputation of Postgate around
Hell House.
I like the idea that it's where they put the people, it's half ne'er-do-wells, half examples, to try and strengthen the ne'er-do-wells, but there's always a cross-pollination of, yes, you're a baby good boy now, also smokes and goes to the bar, but at least that guy on the rugby team's tackling a bit softer.
I think in the case, I think in Alistair's case, he got stuck there because his parents are too wealthy to not have him at the school, but they also wanted to kind of sequester him because the school doesn't, the administration doesn't really like him or his family, but took the money anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably there because there's probably a more literal interpretation to that reputation than people suspect.
I'm the goodest good boy, and everyone will follow my example and become wonderful good boys.
Perfect.
And I think I'm probably there because I really am a bit of a misfit in that I have no personality that is fixed. So how could I fit in anywhere?
Excellent. That's cool. So, as I say, we will see. Your all classes are finished for the day, but you'll have homework to work on, and the kind of accepted place to be is in the study room. It's so this is a room for about 15 to 20 boys to work in. It has desks and sort of cupboards and stuff for you to keep your things in. As I said, it's not a classroom. It's more a like your desk is like your own desk. It's more like being in an office than a classroom, though just not necessarily a very well ordered office, shall we say. So I think when we come into this scene, it's about this time of year. It's going into October. It's maybe not long after class has finished, but the sun is already starting to set. It's just got that a bit of twilight coming in through the windows still. It's one of those days where it's cold, but still somehow manages to be humid despite that. The heating is doing very little to dispel either the moisture in the air or the cold. I will take us. I'll go through just for this, the very first bit of this. I will just go through and character keeper order again. So, Karuna, what do we see? What do we see of Karuna as we come into this room?
I believe Karuna is at his desk, which the way they're put at, like he would be facing towards Alistair, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Karuna has like a bunch of knickknacks from around the school, like for the foreign students to buy and send to their parents, or people not from Yorkshire to get. Like, I went to Yorkshire for school, yay! But Karuna has like every one of them, which is probably like the tackiest thing about his desk is like they mingle with actual like things. Like it'd be like like a little Big Ben pewter statue, then like a picture of the white elephant of his family. And so it's like just a mix of tawdry and exotic on his desk. And he's doing his homework, but he'll slip up his words every now and again just to look up at Alistair and have a reason to talk to him. And it's like, oh yeah, what is what's the past tense of like to burn? It's like, oh, that is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, but he's basically trying to tactfully flirt as he's getting his homework done.
Sorry, I'm muted. Excellent. We'll revisit that shortly, I'm sure. And yes, Olcott, what are you up to?
I'm probably doing some semblance of working, but I'm probably, because as I said, my statement is a little bit purposeful. I'm uneasily keeping an eye on Alistair, and I don't exactly like this whole situation between the two of them. And I also probably, as Brewster's probably going on to me complaining about something, and I just eventually tell him to shut up. Because this doesn't have to be like the last caning doesn't have to be his last.
Excellent. Tell you what, if you could give me a roll to shut him down. We may as well go in with this and see where we get to.
Oh, right. Let's see, I forget where the
Oh, sorry, I may not have sent a link to it. I will drag.
I think it's somewhere out here on the sheets, isn't it?
It may well be, but I may not have done. Oh, yes, so it's on the Lines and Veils sheet.
There it is.
Yeah.
We're the supposedly immense humpback, so we may be small.
Yeah. Let me just give this roll. And I think, actually, in spite of my low stats, which is a -1, I managed to get a 7.
Excellent. So when you shut someone down, you can choose to make. Well, he doesn't have a string on you. I will be. So that's not what to do. But you can gain a string on him if you wish. You can give him a condition, or you can just take one forward in general. But you will also get a condition in return.
I feel like I might as well take the string on him for now. I don't really have a particular condition for him in mind.
Cool. And I think I think he's going to kind of like grumble a bit and just sort of mutter like half under his breath, but obviously clearly loud enough for you and probably like whoever's sat behind him sort of thing to hear. I should have known better than to expect any sympathy out of you. Just a big daddy's boy, and he will give you the condition daddy's boy.
It's better than being what's her face's little pet.
And he will kind of scowl and very deliberately go to sort of like he'll almost do that sort of not quite like putting his head behind his arm as he's writing, but it's that sort of thing. He's definitely cool. So Klaus, while all this is going on, what are you doing?
Did my internet possibly cut out for a moment?
Possibly. I wasn't sure if you were muted, so I was out of the tab, so I couldn't see. But I can hear you now.
Okay. Can you repeat the last thing you said? Because I think I must be having internet issues because I didn't hear it.
Yeah, no, I was
what other people were saying before that, though.
Cool. No, I was just asking what is Klaus doing at the moment?
Dang it. Okay. I think it's it. Hello? Everyone can hear me again?
Yep.
Thank heaven. All right. Klaus is probably not paying attention to anyone. And is like maybe trying to get away with having like one foot up on his desk or something like that, which probably he can't, but I think he tries it regularly. And like picking at his nails and just sort of generally being a ne'er-do-well, but in the back of the room.
Sure.
I know we didn't give me a spot, I don't think, in the classroom.
You can claim your spots. Sort of, yeah. Sorry, I meant to get you in your. I meant to ask you this. Yeah, actually, in fact, I'll ask you that now. What does sort of Klaus's like the area around his desk look like?
I assume we don't leave things at our desk. We take them at the end of the class.
You can do this. So like this like little workspace you have is essentially yours for the year. So it is the place where you tend to leave your books and stuff when you're not actually taking them to class or whatever, all that sort of thing.
So I think they're probably like crumpled papers, not enough to draw like not a stack, but like here and there, crumpled papers and his. If we're allowed to take the uniform jackets off at all, I imagine his is draped rather inefficiently on the back of the chair in a way that let it get wrinkled. Maybe he has his book open, not to the right page necessarily, but for appearances. But yeah, he's really just not checked into what's going on at all. And it shows in all ways possible.
Brilliant. What is occupying Klaus's what is occupying Klaus's thoughts at the moment? Is he just like completely like zoned out entirely, or is he thinking about other things?
I think he's thinking about the rest of the day, and probably a bit about Whether I'm looking up names as always. Whether he can wander off and get a view of where to go? Of Isaac at some point on the grounds. Because
Excellent.
Isaac is his favorite.
Excellent.
Things like that.
Yeah, perfect. Would you like to make me a roll to gaze into the abyss?
Sure. Let's see. What stat does that roll?
Oh, that would be with dark.
With dark. Oh, I have a dark. I didn't know I had a dark, but I do. Did I do my stats right? I did, right?
Yeah, that looks right. I think you always have
Yeah.
some dark as the hollow. It's inescapable.
Okay. So I will do 2d6s. I should have done this earlier and didn't think of it. We've got pink and purple on the table, it looks like. I'll be green. Submit. I don't know why they showed up in the middle of it, but I got a 5 with +1 makes that a 6, so I have failed my gaze into the abyss.
Yeah, excellent. We'll come back to that for them in a moment. You're currently just daydreaming, but perhaps those thoughts will turn something darker in a moment. But I said we'll come back to you shortly.
Okay.
And finally, Alistair. The words. Sorry, I am. My brain is all over the place today. Yes, you're sat opposite Karuna, who is, perhaps affectionately pestering you for help with his homework. But what do we say of Alistair? What's Alistair thinking and doing at the moment?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I was having problems unmuting. Alistair, he's responding to Karuna, but he's obviously not entirely present in this moment. He's thinking, and he's not thinking about anything that's going on in this room. He's thinking of revenge. Because it is almost sundown. You said it was twilight.
It is indeed, yeah.
And everything good happens after dark. Only good things happen after dark ever.
Yeah, indeed.
So he's trying to figure out who chained him onto that rowing shell. Trying to put the pieces together, see what he can remember.
Excellent.
I think he's gazing into the abyss.
It does sound that way, yep. So how does this look for Alistair? I suppose what I'm asking here is, do you see there being any kind of like mystical element to this, or is it more just literally he's trying to trawl through his memories and remember?
I think you see him kind of leaning back in his chair, staring vacantly into space, perhaps tapping a pencil.
Yeah, cool.
Who knows? Maybe the pencil tapping is going to irritate somebody. So let's see what we get here. That's a 7.
A 7. Excellent. So, who chained you to
or who was involved?
Who was involved? Yeah.
Because I mean, it's going to take more than one person to get somebody Alistair's size chained. So he's going to have a list.
Yeah. So, you're sort of thinking back and trying to remember, and then suddenly the visions sort of tumble onto you, like you feel almost like you're back there, and for a moment you can kind of feel you can. It's weird. It's that like that kind of dream logic type thing where stuff doesn't quite work the way it should do, and everything has a sort of slightly odd has a slightly odd like weird color traceries at the edge of your vision, and everything looks a bit blurry. You have in the back of your throat, you can taste beer and something else, kind of like an off flavor, something strange, and everything is just sort of like swimming around you, and suddenly a face kind of looms out of this fog towards you, and you recognize it as Rollinson, who's actually a guy who's on the rugby team with you. He's quite big. He's one of the he's a prop, so he's quite a big guy, and he's got his arm around you, but in a kind of like friendly sort of way. He seems just to be sort of supporting you, but then the next moment you're back again, and you can feel water surging up around you and into your mouth and nose, and I think you kind of take a big gulping breath, and I think you do that thing where you've been leaning back a bit in the chair, and the chair sort of slams down to the ground. So Karuna, how do you react to this? You obviously you've not seen any of this weirdness going on, but you will have noticed probably by this point that Alistair is sort of checked out of the conversation, and maybe he drifted off to sleep or something. You're not entirely sure, but you definitely notice when his chair sort of slams into the floor.
I think Karuna is sort of like an audience member at a jump scare, that just his head pops up and he looks sort of wide-eyed, and he'll I think almost instinctively reach over to grab Alistair's hand, but stop right before it gets to that part, as he's learned that men touching men is not as accepted in Britain as it is in India. But he'll look concerned and give kind of a weak half smile. Is everything okay? I know you don't like to study much, but you're usually more engaged.
Sorry, I was just remembering a swimming competition. I guess I drifted off a little bit.
Oh. Did you swim often?
No, I wasn't much of one for it.
I see. And I think he'll he realized he wasn't getting anywhere with the asking for help with English, so he'll just sort of, I think, get a bit more direct. And is it okay to sort of lace the I remember there was like a small township around the school before, if I'm correct, David?
That's right. Yes, the town of Hades.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to try and subconsciously turn on Alistair by basically asking him on a date. It's like, do you want to go to Imram's Curry? I mean, they're not Rajasthani, but it has its own flavor to it. I'll pay. It'll get us out of the dorms tonight anyway.
You know, chicken tikka does sound good.
And I think the turn on of the chat will be Karuna giving like a more full figured smile, and just I'll buy us each our own garlic naan so we don't have to share. If that sounds like a turn on to Alistair.
I grin. You got yourself a deal.
Okay. Let me roll then and see how this works. I got a 10.
Excellent. So yeah, you gain a string on Alistair, and Alistair has to choose one of the following options to give themselves to you, to promise you something that they think you want, or to get embarrassed and act awkward.
I promised to go to this little Indian place and get some garlic naan. I mean, that is what is offered, right? That is promising something that Karuna has indicated that they want, right?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool.
Let's go eat and not people.
Yeah. You will have to sneak out to go to the curry house. You're not supposed to be off school after the evening classes are finished, but it is certainly something that's well within your capabilities to do so. So
can we just bribe somebody to look the other way? Like, what's his name? Archie, I think, is the prefect.
Bribery is probably not going to get you far, but yeah, it's. I mean, sneaking off the school grounds is a fairly common thing. There are definitely places you can go to get out without being seen. The grounds here are quite sprawling. It's a little way into town. It's about a mile or so, but not too.
I can give Karuna a piggyback ride. I am a rugby player after all.
Indeed. So yeah. So yeah, sorry, I think Klaus, as you are daydreaming about about Isaac Crowther, he's the groundskeeper's son. He essentially works as a gardener at the school, though he is about the same. Well, maybe a year or two older than you, but he's sort of he is a teen. He's probably left his schooling behind because he compulsory schooling only goes to 16, and he is now working, and the dream you think you must again, it's a similar sort of thing to actually what Alistair just experienced. You maybe you doze off for a moment whilst you're sort of thinking, and you feel like you are out on the moors, up on a big rolling hill, sort of scrubby trees around you, lots of gorse and heather. Unlike Alistair's vision, though, this is like crystal clear, and it feels like you're actually there. You can feel the cold, damp wind blowing across the moors, ruffling your hair, and making the your white school shirt damp with the it's not quite raining, but it's that kind of drizzle, heavy drizzle in the air. And stood near you and coming towards you is Isaac Crowther. He has dark, longish hair, piercing eyes. He's quite pale, dark red lips, and he is shirtless. As he crosses the moor towards you, he reaches out to you and places just a couple of fingers underneath your chin and says, "Come to me."
Well, that's certainly a nice dream. I don't know what reaction I'm supposed to have in character, other than that was a really lovely dream. Do I wake up? What's going on?
Nope. You're, as far as you can tell, you're still in the dream at the moment. You can interact with him essentially if you will.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just like, thanks. That's nice imagery. So I will, hold a hand so that he can help me up. I'm certainly willing to go wherever he's going.
Yeah. And I think he takes your hand in his and leads you. There's that kind of low mist like creeping along the floor, sort of surrounding your feet, and he leads you to like a smaller rise in the overall hill, and there are stones. It looks, I mean, it looks like a barrow mound essentially, and he draws you down with him onto this barrow, and that is the point where you wake up, and you can feel like your hand. When you sort of come to, you feel a bit colder than you were before. Your shirt isn't wet, although perhaps maybe a little bit with sweat. And Isaac Crowther now has a string on you.
All right. He can have as many strings as he wants, as far as I'm concerned. Isaac, I will add that. Oh wait, no, he has a string on me, not the other way around. I'm going to add that to my strings on this. Yeah, I imagine I sort of awake a bit with the start and maybe knock some books off my desk, and attract a bit of attention, unless no one wants to pay attention to me starting and knocking books off my desk. And then need to collect myself rather quickly because we're still.
Is everything all right, CF?
Yes. No, everything's quite all right. These books and I got in a bit of an argument, and I think I won.
Well, good to see that you're living up to your name, at least.
Yes, indeed.
I
second
think,
half especially.
I think that's definitely another shutdown there.
Yeah, it was a poor idea of me to ever make a character that didn't have high cold, since that's how I play every game of Monsterhearts. Let's see here.
I just have last couple of characters I've certainly not last few times I tend to end up with ones who just have like hot and dark, and it's like, what can you do? Turn people on, and that's about it.
Yeah, there you go. That was a miss. So
cool. So yeah, I
Uh.
think as demonstrated by your response, that the insult bounces right off Klaus. But Klaus, you can, if you wish, essentially treat it as though you had succeeded in shutting the Alcott down. So if you want to choose one of the options from the list, so
Sure, I had a possible other idea, but that makes sense. Milo, buddy, you gotta stop right now. Sorry, my dog. Let me shut them down. Let's see. Do they have strings on me? No, they don't. So they can't lose a string on me. But I could gain one on. No, I have one on them. I could gain another one.
yep.
Give a condition or take one forward. What I was going to do.
oops, I think we've lost you there, Pearl. Or have I lost?
So let's see. I have +1 forward, and it's with hot, which I don't think I have a good score in yet. So it
I think
comes out to a flat roll.
I just had a weird connection glitch there, so I missed what just happened. But
I just
Klaus is
failed.
trying to turn me on, but it looks like it was a miss.
Just by one.
I
Alas.
was going to say one of the options you could have taken from the shutting down was to take a +1 forward.
I think that was with the
Oh.
+1.
Cool. Yeah, no worries.
I did. Oh, and I have a quick question. I thought I had put a 1 on my advance from missing an initial roll, but it's at 0, which makes me wonder if I accidentally put someone else on advancement.
You may have done.
I should be at 2 now because I missed the gaze into the abyss, right?
That's right, and Alcott just missed as well, so they're on 1, and yeah, that looks good.
Okay,
cool.
You can spend a string to succeed, though, Pearl.
Oh, I could. I always forget that I never use strings. I always forget.
Yeah.
I would be happy to use a string.
Yeah, go for it.
to manage. So that means I get a 7 to 9, or does that mean?
Yep, you'll get a 7 to 9.
All right, so you can either give me a string, which would just give it back, or choose one of the reactions. Milo, you gotta stop, bud. Seriously. Steven?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Okay, just making sure some internet stuff has been weird.
Yeah, I put a kind of sneering grin and walk out of the room, but as I kind of pass by your desk, I kind of kneel down nonchalantly and whisper that I know a certain supply room.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Would I like already know where that supply room is because it's a supply room that we tend to visit as
Yeah.
students? Okay.
Yeah, I
checking.
assume. I assume I actually give you enough information to know where to go.
Okay. I was like, do I have to follow you out? All right. Excellent. This pleases me.
Okay, no worries. So I think we'll take a quick break there. So again, about another 5 minutes. So, and I think just from the stack, it looks like Puckett's just had some internet issues as well. So yeah, we'll take a 5 minute break now. I'll let him know through the Slack, and fingers crossed he will be back with us when we return. See you all in about 5. I was just saying to the other two, I think we'll pick up with Klaus and Orcott again. See if Puckett gets back, and if not, we'll find some distraction for you, I'm sure. Cool. So yes. So yeah, well, I guess the first question is, will Klaus be following Olcott to the supply closet?
Of course. I'm not going to roll to turn someone on and then not follow them to the supply closet.
I mean, it's
Like, yeah. I mean, both Klaus is Klaus. So I think that would never happen. And also, he just had a very sexy dream and needs to find a way to express himself, as it were.
indeed. So yes, I guess we will, and obviously, we'll see. We will fast forward to the supply closet, I guess. How do we find Stephen? Sorry, how do we find Stephen? How do we find Olcott when Klaus arrives at the supply closet?
Yeah, I think that as you come in, there's a kind of like probably like the camera sees me kind of like stepping a bit menacingly out of the shadows as you step into the room from behind you, and then kind of like turning you around to face me and kissing you.
That makes sense to me. Guess I can't talk if you're kissing me.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
then.
Oh no, then I was kind of like, I'm thinking here that I kind of pull back and say, I have a certain trick I'm known for that I'd like to show you, but you have to get your tie off first.
Oh no. I will totally take my tie off in character, out of character. Oh no. But yeah, I think I will like take the knot of my tie and just very slowly slide it down.
Yeah, and we see Alcott lean into your neck as you kind of bear it for me, and then just as we see the camera like meet just out off your neck, I'm giving a string to the dark power to use elsewise power to get the feeding from the vampire.
Oh, I think Klaus is probably pleased by this, so please continue.
Yeah, and I don't have any harm to heal. And this is the first time that you've ever been fed upon, so we both mark experience.
Oh, hooray!
But I'm
It's better
taking
and better.
+1 forward, and they definitely don't die.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think I sort of murmur, "Oh, I didn't know you liked it rough." Since you're literally drinking blood out of my neck, I think that seems appropriate.
And I think that this is a rather we kind of flip over to a rather kind of impressionist camera mode where we get the intent that this actually feels really good, even though I am basically before I bite in, we see all of my teeth have sharpen in my jaw, and my jaw extends a little to clamp down on your neck.
Good heavens. It's very exciting.
But we kind of get from the camera angles that this feels really good, and I'm rolling to turn you on with that +1 forward.
I don't even feel like you need to roll, but by all means, go ahead.
I mean, there's a chance that this is going to end poorly, so
yeah, that's true.
And it does. I get a 6.
Oh no. It was otherwise working so well. Klaus wants to feel things. But tell me how horribly it goes, David.
Yeah, so I think I think that this is that makes sense.
I have an idea too, but you go ahead.
So in terms of the overall I think in terms of the overall sexiness of the encounter, I don't think anything ruins the mood. You feel free to continue as you wish. But I would like you, Klaus, to mark me the condition marked by the beast.
Ooh, that's an exciting condition.
Cool. Does this count as bringing an innocent soul to the dark power?
How many moves can we? Where are my conditions?
Not quite. It's
Okay.
definitely a step in the right direction. I'll give you that.
What is it? Something to the beast? Sorry, what was your exact wording?
Marked by the beast.
Marked by the beast. Okay. And I was going to suggest, and I'm wondering if there's a move for this because I think it'd be interesting for my character, that I encourage more biting / blood, whatever, and end up losing a bit too much blood. Because I like the idea of taking some harm from it, but also enjoying it at the same time. That seems like a very Klaus thing to do. I don't know if there's a move I could take to encourage that.
If you're looking to have some harm, I can certainly give you a point of harm for that. It seems appropriate.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of leaning into Klaus having things happen to him. So please enjoy. Feast upon my neck. Klaus would say it differently, but you can imagine. So my intimacy move, which I would say, or my sex move, I would say we just had an encounter that counts.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, I think even if it doesn't go any further, that is certainly enough.
But if it did go further, it's failed. So everyone can imagine what they want, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when I have sex with someone, both characters secretly write down
yes,
whether it was confusing or soothing for their character. If we reveal the same answer, we both mark experience.
Okay, so if you both want to type in your answer, and I'll give you a count of 3 to hit enter. So 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Yay!
I'm getting so much XP this session. I'm used to like never getting XP in Monsterhearts.
Me too. But with the skin I chose, that hopefully will change a bit. And look, we're already both at 3. Look at
I'm
us
at
go.
4.
Oh, good for you. Oh, that's right, because you got some from.
Yeah, you actually should have also. So you, I think, should also.
Go team. We should sneak off to closets more often to get every advance in the game.
I think in my in my
Actually, no, I
Masks
think you should
game.
be at 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
in my
Oh,
Masks game yesterday, I managed to get 3 points of XP during one conversation with my gran. That was
Oh yeah, I remember in a mass somebody just getting like 3 harm after like getting no harm fighting like a world destroying supervillain just from talking to their mom.
awesome. Oh, and sorry. What?
Sorry.
No, that's fair. I realized I forgot your sex move as well.
Yeah, the dark
or
power loses a string on me and gains a string on whoever I had sex with. So this is
dear.
working out really well for my
Excellent.
So Lovelace should have like just 1 string on me now because you
Yep.
dropped back down to 1, and he now has 1 on Klaus. Which works well with your marked by the beast. So
Yeah, makes sense. My little bud. You gotta
Perfect.
chill it out, dude. That was a lot of moves triggered by like 1 interaction. Good heavens.
Indeed. So, I think I think we're probably not going to get Puckett back by the looks of things. I think he said his internet seems to be out entirely at the minute. I think what we will do is we'll have just another quick scene with Karuna, and then we'll probably call it there for the evening. I think we're in a sort of a good place to like move forward with stuff. So yeah. Is there a specific thing you would like to do, Karuna, or do you want me to throw something at you?
I think a scene like while Karuna is waiting for Alistair, probably Alistair got in trouble from slamming his chair down and causing a ruckus in class or study. So like maybe Karuna's waiting and sees some bullies picking on poor Timothy with no Alistair around to be saving him.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and I think it's a couple of boys, probably in your year as well, maybe the year above, but not ones you're particularly close to. And they are I think they've just got one of them has kind of got him like pinned up against the wall, and the other one is flicking through a book, which it looks like a kind of a diary or that sort of thing that they're flicking through, and one of them is sort of saying, "What's this you've got in here, freak?" And kind of like they're obviously showing him something in the book.
Yeah, Karuna will. I think like there's a brief moment of should he interfere, but he knows that at least with Timothy, that's what Alistair would want. So he walks over and strikes what he thinks is a strong pose, arms on hips, elbows out, puffing his chest up. What is going on here? You think this is okay behavior?
The one who's holding the book will kind of turn around and he'll just sort of fold his arms over his chest. And they'll say, well, it's certainly fun behavior, Your Highness.
I think Karuna will actually say his correct title, which I don't know even English monarchies, so I'm not going to try to butcher the Indian monarchies. If you're going to say a title, say it correctly.
Well, then perhaps I won't bother in future, and I'll find something else to call you.
Well, seeing as what you're calling him, I don't think it's going to be anything imaginative.
Look, it's just bloody Daggett anyway. No one...
He says no one cares about him?
Yeah.
It's oh, how fitting. So how your parents feel about you is how everyone feels about him.
Oh, piss off.
I think I'm going to take the piss instead, and since Puckett is not here, I'm going to ask you, David, do you think it would go towards earning my lover's heart if I got into a fight to protect Timothy?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, so I'm going to lash out physically, carrying one forward because I'm an honorable and virtuous, thirsty boy.
Excellent.
Woot! That is another 10.
Nice. So yeah, on a 10 up, you deal them harm, and they choke up momentarily before they can react. So yeah, how does it look? You'll like I said, you'll get a blow in on this guy who's holding the Daggett up against. So not against one who's holding his diary.
I think the right arm from no, I think this is the left arm, just to surprise them. Curls into a fist, reels back a little bit, and just a quick uppercut to the gut to make him drop the book.
Yeah, and I think he doubles up and kind of falls down to his knees. You've clearly sort of got him right, and he's winded. The other guy will let go of Daggett, who probably stumbles to the floor a little bit. And I think he does that thing of he puts one hand on the boy on the floor's shoulder, and he looks like he's gonna go for you, but then he kind of looks up and down the corridor, and I think drags the other guy up to his feet and sort of helps him up. You think probably the impression you get is that they probably don't want to start an all-out brawl in the hallway. That would be going a bit too far.
Mm-hmm. And I do have a question, since I forgot about. I've never played the Mortal, so I'm not on my game. But does me getting involved with this Daggett bullying mean I'm putting my nose where it doesn't belong?
Yeah, I think so.
So I will mark experience and give any one of these three a string on me. I don't care who.
Yeah, I think actually we'll call it. So I think I'm just going to add a name to the NPCs, which will be Hewitt. He's the boy that didn't hit you, and you can tell he's clearly you kind of get the impression from this that the other guy, the guy that you hit, is essentially the more sadistic of the two, but this guy Hewitt is the muscle essentially in this pairing, and he kind of gives you he gives you that like we'll talk about this later sort of look, but yeah, he looks like he's not taking any action at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, and I think what you will see though is where the book has been dropped. It's open on one of the pages in the diary or journal or whatever it is, and you will see it's like a drawing of. It's not really identifiable exactly who it is, but it's like a draw, quite a good drawing, quite a good sketch of someone being like grotesquely dismembered. It's like unpleasantly detailed.
Oh. And I think Karuna reaches down, picks up the art book or the diary, hands it back to Timothy, and will politely say, "Do you read a lot of Grey's Anatomy?"
And I think he will just kind of grab the book and kind of cradle it into his stomach and just sort of mumble a thanks. But he kind of looks away from you and sort of goes to scurry off.
Oh. Well, that's not how you properly thank someone, but he doesn't know any better. And I think as he's scurrying away, Karuna will sigh, but I have some weird leverage on him. I think Karuna will go back to sort of like waiting at the stairwell or something for Alistair.
Excellent. And I think with that, that's where we will end things for this evening. I think just a fairly short one, but I think we've got a bit of stuff done. So that's thank you very much, everyone. I'm just going to quickly stop the